climate activists have plenty of punchlines. In fact, let's feature some of them right now because it has been a period of failure for climate activists that is really, really fun and entertaining to watch. And that's why on Earth Day, we like to go back and look at some of their incredible predictions from the past. There's one great article AEI put out, 18 spectacularly wrong predictions were made around the first Earth Day in 1970. This is Mark J. Perry, by the way. And let me give you some highlights because these are always fun to go through. How many of them have come true? Maybe all of them have come true. That's what we're told, basically, by the media, that they've been predicting this correctly the entire time. Let's go back and look at the first Earth Day and the time around there to see what exactly came true. Harvard biologist George Wald estimated that civilization will end within 15 or 30 years. That would be by 1985 or 2000 for those keeping track at home, unless immediate action is taken against problems facing mankind. Now, we definitely did not take the action that they wanted us to take, and somehow, in both 1985 and 2000, we still have a civilization. Who would have seen it coming? How about this one? Population will inevitably and completely outstrip whatever small increases in food supplies we make. Paul Ehrlich confidently declared in the April 1970 issue of Mademoiselle. Imagine that you're Mademoiselle. I don't know what normally is in there, like fashion, and you're getting like Paul Ehrlich telling you you're all going to die. The death rate will increase until at least 100 to 200 million people per year will be starving to death during the next 10 years by 1980. That did not occur, shockingly, by 1980. How about this? Most of the people who are going to die in the greatest cataclysm in the history of man have already been born, wrote Paul Ehrlich in the 1969 essay titled Eco-Catastrophe! By 1975, some experts feel, I love that, some experts feel. Not all experts have studies that prove, but some experts feel that food shortages will have escalated to the present level of world hunger and starvation into famines and unbelievable proportions. Other experts, more optimistic, think the ultimate food population collision will not occur until the decade of the 1980s. So there's your split. You have some people who say it's going to happen before 1980, and some that are say the biggest food cataclysm is going to happen in the 1980s. You might have noticed we got past both of those decades and none of that occurred. But there was never even a position. It wasn't like, look, we think there's a real chance that this could happen, but it also could be fine. That's never, it's either really terrible tragedy or slightly less terrible tragedy. That's it. So there you go. Next up, Paul Ehrlich again. He's kind of the star of this. He sketched out his most alarmist scenario of the 1970 Earth Day issue of The Progressive, assuring readers that between 1980 and 1989, some 4 billion people, including 65 million Americans, would perish in the Great Die-Off. Now, you want to talk about a fun event to attend year after year after year, the Great Die-Off. I don't remember 65 million people dying in the Great Die-Off or 4 billion people worldwide. People do die of old age, but of course we've seen all those numbers go in the right direction, largely. It's already too late to avoid mass starvation, says Dennis Hayes, chief organizer of Earth Day in spring 1970. Is it too late to avoid mass starvation? Well, Peter Gunter, a North Texas State University professor, wrote in 1970, demographers agree almost unanimously on the following grim timetable. By 1975, widespread famines will begin in India. These will spread by 1990 to include all of India, Pakistan, China, and the Near East, Africa. By the year 2000, or conceivably sooner, South and Central America will exist under famine conditions. By the year 2000, 30 years from now, the entire world, with the exception of Western Europe, North America, and Australia, will be in famine. Well, that entire world, that would include Antarctica, and no one lives there. Think about it. Because of the climate and hunger and stuff, nobody lives in Antarctica. Think about that. By the way, none of that happened. There wasn't widespread famines. The only famines that really happened in this period happened a little bit earlier with China and Mao. That happened. There have been famines, most of them human-caused, having nothing to do with the climate making it impossible to grow things. In January 1970, Life reported, scientists have solid experimental and theoretical evidence to support the following predictions. In a decade, urban dwellers will have to wear gas masks to survive air pollution. And by 1985, air pollution will be reduced to half the amount of sunlight reaching the Earth. Think about that for a second. Half the sunlight reaching the Earth, just gone. Now, I had this experience today where I went outside and it seemed pretty normal. Wasn't dark, wasn't half the sunlight, just the normal amount of sunlight that's been every single day. What's fascinating about this is how often they say the same stuff, right? They're always predicting the worst cataclysms over and over and over again. And there's never like a punishment. There's never like a, gosh, we really blew that one. There's never a, I can't believe how embarrassed I am that I said those things. That never happens. No one ever follows up and asks them about this. Barry Commoner predicted that decaying organic pollutants would use up all of the oxygen in America's rivers, causing freshwater fish to suffocate. My understanding is fish have not all started to suffocate yet. They're just kind of still swimming around like normal. Paul Ehrlich again chimed in, predicting in 1970 that air pollution is certainly going to take hundreds of thousands of lives in the next few years alone. Ehrlich sketched a scenario in which 200,000 Americans would die in 1973 during smog disasters in New York and Los Angeles. Don't remember those. Do you remember the smog disasters? Now, it's been a little foggy there, a little smoggy at times. The traffic kind of sucks. The people can be really annoying at times in Los Angeles, but I don't remember any smog disasters killing 200,000 of them. Maybe that's just me. Paul Ehrlich warned in the May 1970 issue of Autobahn that DDT and other chlorinated hydrocarbons may have substantially reduced the life expectancy of people born since 1945. Ehrlich warned that Americans born since 1946 now had a life expectancy of only 49 years. And he predicted that if current patterns continued, life expectancy would reach 42 years by 1980 when it might level out. One thing you always get from these quotes and articles from environmentalists is a phrase that you'll hear over and over and over again, and you can never actually take seriously, which is, if current patterns continue, because that never seems to happen. The current patterns don't continue. It's almost like the Earth isn't trying to commit suicide all the time. But they say at life expectancy is 42 years, which is, wow, I'm impressive because I'm already 40, what's today's date? We're 2025, 49. I'm 49. I've already lived out past my life expectancy because it evened out at 42, if you remember correctly. Ecologist Kenneth Watt declared, by the year 2000, if present trends continue, we will be using up crude oil at such a rate that there won't be any more crude oil. You'll drive up to the pump and say, fill her up, buddy. And he'll say, I'm very sorry, there isn't any. Now, we have had some supply chain disruptions. We have had a bunch of environmentalists trying to make it so we can't drill our own oil, so that we can't have any gasoline. But generally speaking, that's been the only real threat on that one. Harrison Brown, a scientist at the National Academy of Sciences, published a chart in Scientific American that looked at metal reserves and estimated that humanity would totally run out of copper shortly after 2000. Lead, zinc, tin, gold, and silver would be gone before 1990. It's weird, all those things still exist. In fact, I could still get zinc at CVS for like 9,000 tablets for $4. Lead, tin, gold all still exist. Copper still exists. Silver also still exists. That's your update. Senator Gaylord Nelson wrote in Look, Dr. S. Dillon Ripley, Secretary of the Smithsonian Institute, believes that in 25 years, somewhere between 75 and 80% of all the species of living animals will be extinct. Well, Dr. S. Dillon Ripley might believe that, but he is wrong. Is he still alive? Does anyone know? Is S. Dillon Ripley still alive? If so, maybe he'll come on the show and try to answer whether 75 and 80% of all the species have gone extinct yet. Because I feel like we still have a lot of them. Kenneth Watt also warned about a pending ice age in a speech. The world has been chilling sharply for about 20 years, he declared. If present trends continue, the world will be about 4 degrees colder for the global mean temperature in 1990, but 11 degrees colder in the year 2000. This is about twice as what it would take to put us into an ice age. And over and over and over and on and on and on and on and on. There's no shortage of these things. They predicted this constantly, and that was kind of the first Earth Day pitch. The first Earth Day pitch was not about global warming. In fact, they were praying for global warming, praying to probably some God that doesn't exist, but they were praying nonetheless. They were saying, oh, yes, please bring us global warming because we are going into a period of another ice age. The pitch at the time was global cooling. That was the issue. That was the thing you're supposed to be concerned about, global cooling. And that just switched over time, and no one seemed to matter, no one seemed to notice, no one seemed to care that they were telling us one thing a little while ago, and now are telling us the exact opposite. Now they're saying global warming is the concern.